One of the major signs that you are about to make a quantum leap into a new desired reality is actually that your old life falls apart. Now, we know the main signs of jumping to a new reality. You start to experience a lot of synchronicity, you might be seeing a lot of angel numbers. You kind of start seeing glitches in the matrix, like life feels more like a dream. You can feel like really woozy. You're getting a lot of signs. It can feel really exciting. But usually, what happens before you actually jump into that new reality is everything that is no longer in alignment with the version of you that lives in the reality you're jumping to has to fall apart. This is actually a good thing. This is a recalibration of energy. Oftentimes, when we are quantum leaping to a new reality, we will be tested by the universe. We will be triggered with old wounds. We will have to face old limiting beliefs about ourselves that are the reason we're not living in this new reality. Because if we had different beliefs about ourselves and about life, we would be living in that reality, no problem. And we also have to align our energy energetically with the frequency of the version of us that's living in this reality. So when we're aligning our frequency with a new version, when it is at a higher calibration, when we're raising our frequency up, anything that doesn't match it either has to raise itself up or it's going to fall out of your life. So when you are quantum jumping to a new reality, your energy is tied to things in your old reality. It's tied to old belief systems. It's tied to old environments. It's tied to people that you hang out with. It's tied to an old identity. And when you start doing real quantum jumping work, when you start doing the work to change your limiting beliefs, when you start to embody the version of yourself that lives in that reality, you start acting like that person before you have actual evidence of being that person. Those old ties to all those things in your reality, it's going to get really weird. It often feels very strained at first. Things that you were in alignment with, you are no longer in alignment with, because things in your life were only in your life because you were at the same vibrational frequency as them. Oftentimes when you're quantum jumping or manifesting something really great in your life, the universe is going to ask you to give up something. You're going to give up a limiting belief. You're going to give up an old identity. You might have to give up a relationship, but this is necessary for you to break the cords of that old identity, of that old frequency, in order for you to jump into that new reality. Now, this has happened to me twice in my life that when it was happening, I didn't understand, but I was doing a lot of quantum jumping work. I was doing a lot of manifestation work, limiting belief work, and I was really trying to be this new version of myself. And the things that were no longer in alignment with me got louder and louder and more painful, to the point where it was absolutely unbearable for me to keep them in their lives. I had to end a marriage. I've ended friendships. I had to leave a career, moving. There's been lots of different things where I didn't fully understand why I had to let them go. And it wasn't until I let them go that the quantum jump happened very quickly after that. And I realized that either the type of relationship that I was calling in could not be the relationship that I was in because it was at a different frequency. So I had to let go of that relationship in order to call in the next relationship. People that I was hanging around, in order to stay in the high vibration that I wanted to stay in, I could no longer be energetically tied to certain people because their belief systems literally were affecting me. We're affected by all the people in our environment. This is why the 5 people you hang around with the most is actually important, because we inherit other people's belief systems. This isn't making anybody wrong. They're also inheriting my belief systems. But if you are working to create a new reality, if you want to have a new version of wealth, if you want to have a better relationship, if you want to have a better body, whatever it is, and you are around people that don't believe that that's possible, you are going to actually absorb not only their frequency, but their beliefs. It's really uncomfortable at first because it's like cleaning out your closet. Your closet is stuffed. Think of your life as being stuffed energetically with people, places, things, and environments. And you want to be in a new reality. You want to jump to a new reality that is at a higher frequency, that has different people, places, things, and environments. So you have to clean out your closet. And at first, it's a total mess. It's like you're pulling out things, you're looking at them, you're seeing if they fit, you're seeing how they feel. Suddenly, the things that are no longer in alignment with you, it becomes so painful. It's like you become energetically sick to things that are not in alignment with you anymore. Now, the 2 main times that this happened to me, It felt really painful. I didn't understand why the universe was asking me to let go of things. I thought, can't I just hold on to this thing, and if something better wants to come in, it can? But the point is, there was actually no space. There was no space in my frequency, in my energetic space, for new things to come in. For example, with the relationship I let go of, at one time, it was my best relationship. It was a beautiful relationship. I'm so grateful for that person. But what my soul was calling in was a higher I don't want to say higher vibrational, but it was a different type of relationship, a different way that I wanted to be loved. And the more that I changed my beliefs about myself and healed stuff with my parents, the more I felt worthy of having a relationship where I felt seen and loved and like soulmate things. But I had to let go of that relationship, and I was not able to see why until a few months later when I manifested my soulmate. But my soul was almost allergic to being in a relationship that wasn't 100% authentic to me anymore. Because when I had met that person, we were in alignment. But when you start doing a lot of work on yourself, sometimes you realize you have to let go of something. And at the beginning of this, it can really feel like loss. A lot of times, things are going to fall out of your life. For example, people are going to leave your life that are no longer in alignment with you. Jobs might go away, places you've stayed, friendships might go away, beliefs you had about yourself. It can feel like you're losing so much, and it can feel really painful. But actually, what's happening is the universe is making space for what is in alignment with you. Everything in your life is an energetic attachment, and Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot. But when you've already shifted internally and made a decision that you're going to have a new identity, the identity of the person that lives in this reality that you're calling in, you're energetically tied to all these things in your old reality, and some of the things do come with you. But that version of you that's living in that reality does not have the same energetic attachments. Just like they don't have the same limiting beliefs. They don't have the same frequency as you. They don't take the same actions as you. How do you know that? Because if they did, you guys would be living in the same reality and it wouldn't be parallel universes. There are versions of us living on different parallel universes of reality, doing different things based on our beliefs, based on our frequency, based on the choices we're making, based on who we are being, what energy we are embodying. Oftentimes we are tied to things energetically because of beliefs we have about ourselves, because of the frequency we're embodying, because of the way we're showing up to life, because of what we believe is possible, because beliefs have a lot to do also with what parallel reality you're existing in. So if you really are wanting to jump to a new reality, it's because there's a version of you that lives there. And you might be getting messages from that version of you saying like desire to me is another version of you calling you from a parallel universe saying, hey, I'm living here. This is possible. You can have this too. When we have desires for something, it's like we've grown spiritually. Our soul has grown. We've grown energetically. Maybe that desire was put there before we were even born. But the way that we're able to connect with it and like not stop thinking about it is because we're aware of the version of us that's living in that reality. And that version of us is calling us home, basically. So I always say, and this has always happened to me, when I do inner child healing work, that same day I will feel my future version of myself also communicating with me. Because the version of me that made a choice to heal something in the past, that future version is also healing me in this present moment. And just like we can feel the pain that our past selves felt, that our inner childs felt, we can feel the joy and excitement that our future self or parallel version of self is living. I don't even think it's a future self. I think it's another version of us on an alternate timeline. It feels like the future because when you timeline jump, it's not like let's say you're timeline jumping to somebody that like has their dream home. You're probably not going to do a meditation and wake up and be in your dream home. You're going to timeline jump to that reality where that is an option for you, where you're holding the frequency of living in your dream home. And then you're going to take the steps that seem linear to get there, but they weren't linear. They were actually done in frequency. They were done based on you shifting your frequency, your beliefs, your thoughts, your energetic patterns, and your behaviors. That's what happens with quantum jumping. It's like there is a version of us living. Let's say you want to manifest your soulmate. So there's a version of you that's living with your soulmate right now. When you're doing quantum jumping work, again, you're probably not going to like go to bed today and wake up tomorrow and your soulmate's there. I mean, maybe that's possible. I haven't had that experience. But what's going to happen is when you align with that reality, you are going to be that person that can live with your soulmate, and then there's still going to be linear steps for you to get there. However, quantum jumping, it's like it happened energetically, so it takes less time. Whereas if you were to like go on dating apps and ask people to set you up and, go through this like matter to matter, you'll still find someone, although it won't be your soulmate if you're not vibrating on that frequency, but it's going to take longer than with you just aligning with that version of you that lives with their soulmate. So anyways, everything that is no longer in alignment with this new identity has to fall apart, because the real key to quantum jumping is an identity shift. It is about embodying that version of you that lives in that reality. I feel like that's actually the missing step in manifestation work and quantum jumping that I have been learning myself, because I have studied a lot of spiritual teachings. I have manifested a lot of things based on things that I've learned at one level, but I noticed that sometimes they would work a little bit, or they would work for one thing, and then they wouldn't work for manifesting the next thing or quantum jumping to the next thing. And when the areas in my life that I really quantum leapt to, I realized, yes, it was changing my limiting beliefs. Yes, it was changing my behaviors. Yes, it was changing my thought patterns. But most of all, it was that I was embodying that future version of self. Like, you almost have to be a little delusional and start believing that you live in that reality before you do. And then ask yourself, how would you be acting? What would you be thinking? What behaviors would you be having? Who would you be around and who would you not be around? What environments would you put yourself in? So what I really want you to know is, when you're doing quantum leaping work and it seems like things get worse right before they get better, it's actually because everything that is no longer in alignment with that identity needs to fall away. And if you cling to it, and if you hold on to it, and if you refuse to let it go, you're just going to stay in the old reality. And there's a version of you calling you to the greater reality. That desire you have is future you, parallel you, saying like, hey, I have this. You can be here too. And it's giving you messages. If you listen, it's going to tell you what you need to do in order to align with that reality. The same way we go back and heal our inner child and we like tell it, I'm sorry this happened. I love you now. Look at my life as an adult. Things are okay. That parallel version of us is saying, this is what's possible. This is what you need to do. Change your thoughts about this. Change your feelings about this. Let this go. And the letting go can be the hardest part. Like I said, the 2 times I quantum leapt the most, that was the thing I fought the most. But now looking back, I'm like, that was actually the thing that did it all. Because once I let that thing go, I was able to see that really the universe just had something better for me. And that intuition to let something go was the universe saying, we need you to make space for the new version that you're becoming. And also this version of you the timeline that you're jumping to would not hold on to this, because their identity is no longer going to hold on to things that are low self-worth. Another thing that may happen is you might feel like you're being tested, and I don't like this word, so I've reframed it to, you are being given an opportunity to act and embody the new version of you. The universe isn't testing you to like try to hurt you in any ways. It's basically giving you an opportunity to embody that new version of yourself. And the more you embody that new version of yourself, that new identity, the closer the timelines get, and the closer you get in frequency-wise, you get to that version of you. So quantum jumping, it seems like, again, it's not like you go to bed and then you wake up the next day and you're in your mansion that you manifested. Quantum jumping is like this process where you're shifting your energy, you're matching your frequency to that version of you that lives in that reality. And it's going to reach a tipping point where the 2 frequencies merge, and then the thing that you want to manifest, or the reality that you want to live in, happens really quickly because of the tipping point of the frequencies. So it seems like it happened overnight, but really you had to align your frequency to that version of you over time in order to make the shift. And how do you do this? By thinking the thoughts of that version of you, by shifting your beliefs to believe the things about reality that version of you believes, by hanging out in environments that version of you would hang out in, by shifting your frequency to match that frequency of the version of you living there, because that version of you exists and you can match the frequency, but it happens incrementally until it reaches a tipping point. And often right before the tipping point, the universe literally says everything that is not in alignment with this frequency has to shatter, because you're at the tipping point and it's like these energetic patterns are breaking off and collapsing, and it's actually a really good sign. You're just vibrating at a completely different frequency. And other things that you might experience that I have often experienced, you might feel like you're getting sick, like ascension symptoms. You might get really dizzy. I have, when I'm quantum jumping, gotten headaches. I like never get headaches. And I know that it was my body recalibrating to the energy, and then they went away when the shift happened. A lot of emotions come through. You might grieve past identities and past parts of yourself, and you might grieve your past life. And that's actually a good thing. You're thanking that past version of you for doing what they did to get you to one reality, and then you're jumping to a new reality. And then what do you want to do? You want to celebrate the new reality. You want to celebrate it and let your subconscious know that you are safe to live in this reality, so you don't energetically self-sabotage yourself and go backwards. But being aware that you might have to let things go can really help you. And being aware that the only reason you're being asked to let them go is because you have reached a different frequency. And that's what you've been trying to do, right? You've been wanting to get to a different frequency so you could live in a different reality where you can experience what you truly desire, because that version of you is living in a different energetic frequency. And once you recalibrate, it'll feel great. And suddenly you'll understand why you had to let that thing go, because you'll be at such a higher frequency that sometimes often I look back on things I had to let go and I'm like, I cannot believe I held on to that so tightly. I let that be my identity. I thought that that's all that I could have in life. And then when you do quantum jump and you get to the reality that you want, that you're happy, where you feel good, where you have the thing you want, you're just so grateful that those things did have to collapse. So I would just say, don't hold on to anything that is no longer in energetic alignment with you. Listen to your intuition. Listen to what the universe is telling you to let go of. Recalibrate your nervous system, like really regulate your nervous system, because quantum jumping can do a lot on your nervous system. Really ground yourself, go out in nature, eat grounding foods, meditate, do all the things that make you feel good, because I had a week that I was going through a quantum jump, and it was just like, I was like, what is going on? Like, it kind of freaked me out. And now that I'm on the other side of it, it's like amazing. But I had to regulate my nervous system a lot. And then beautiful things come in after that, because that was just you acclimating to the new frequency. And we're not used to the new frequency, because if we were, we would already be living in it. So if you have a desire for something, there's a version of you calling you towards it. Listen to it, ask it what it is being, how it is being, what frequency it's embodying, and go embody that. Much love.